Hello and welcome back to Sports for Dummies. In today's episode, we are previewing the Gold Coast Suns for the 2024 AFL season. Johnny, let's get into it.
It must be an exciting time for Gold Coast. They've been in the wilderness for a very long... Well, since they started in the competition. Finally got... Stuart Dew's been coaching for 3-4 years. Nothing happened. We've constantly been told... They're going to improve. They're going to improve. They're going to improve. Will that be the case? I'm not sure, but it must be the most exciting time considering who they've landed as their coach. Like the feel.
Take the players outside. This
would be the biggest buzz.
Ready to go.
This would be the biggest buzz, whether they're a flop this season or not. I remember when, it's slightly different, but when Ben Cousins joined the Richmond Football Club, Richmond was really struggling. And for that whole preseason, it was such a build-up. It was so exciting. Richmond didn't do well out of it at all. Ben Cousins did his hammy.
But it was still the hype.
Hated. But the hype, this must be the most exciting time since Gary Ablett's been there.
Completely agree.
We're going to analyse through it. Is the newfound hope founded, or are they going to just be mediocre again? I guess that's what we're going to analyse today.
Let's go through. So 2023 saw them finish 15th. They had the 9 wins, the 14 losses. It was pretty
consistent. Pretty consistent
for what they've pulled out from the past.
Well, their best year was, I think it would be. So Ablett joined in 2011. So 2013, their highest finish was 12th.
Yep.
They were actually in the top 8, and Gary Ablett was having another blinder year, and he did his shoulder. So it was, and that was it for them.
Some Gaza highlights for the people watching. It was a beautiful time. I'm sure when everyone would have announced that Gary was coming up north, it would have been a great moment.
Well, what he did was he was the best player on a super team.
Yeah.
He went to Gold Coast, and I'll make the argument that he got better.
I agree.
Before he did his shoulder, I thought that was the true definition of a one-man band. He brought that team up. They were in the top 4. And then when he did his shoulder, that was sort of the end for him. But, he was good to watch. That was the end of his best, but geez, he was so good to watch.
I remember there was one game. I remember I was doing the super coach, doing the whole thing. Everyone out there who does the super coach every year, I think he scored. He had over 50 disposals, and I think he kicked 3 or 4 goals. And he scored 200 and something, 230.
It was a name staying for super coach, and I even remember when he came back from injury, he just killed it straight away. He was so good up there, and then he obviously came back to Geelong. But that was their hopes when he did that. When he did his shoulder, it sort of came down, crashing down for the Suns there, and they never really recovered. They fired their coach Kai McKenna.
Yeah.
Then there was a lot of that there was a party culture and whatnot that the players were all involved in. They recruited who was the rugby player?
Oh my goodness!
Wasn't it Israel Folau? I actually can't remember. No, he was Greater Western Sydney.
Yes, you're right. Anyway, but that's that aside. They have lost some seriously good players, because you think about what's up in Gold Coast versus the Victorian clubs. I don't know, we're digressing a tiny bit, but you go up there, Queensland in a nutshell. You could be up there for a week or two. Don't get me wrong, all the Queenslanders, I'm sure you enjoy it.
It's fantastic. For me, well, you think fantastic weather. You're young, you would love it. But we will go through it. Their biggest problem, which shows why they are the way they are, is the type of players that they have lost, and it's actually outstanding.
It's a big list. You've got a big list there. Aaron Hall, Adam Sard, Brendan Matera, Charlie Dixon, Dion Prestia, Gary Ablett. Obviously, he went back to Geelong. That was just sentimental reasons more than anything. Jaeger O'Meara, Jaeger, whatever, Jaeger Bomb. Jared Lyons, Josh Caddy, Stephen May, Tom Lynch. They're big players to lose.
Tom Lynch, Stephen May, Dion Prestia. They're all
them.
That's premiership Like Stephen May, there's your key back. Prestia in the guts. Tom Lynch up full forward.
If you had that team right now, but that aside, right now for the 2024 season, they have been on the recruitment level. I think they've had how many academy picks did they get?
3 academy picks in the top 40, and I think 2. They had pick 3 and 9.
And not only that, they picked up
They picked up
the GOAT, the best. I would not the GOAT. Sorry, the best coach of the last decade. That's for sure.
Oh, the coach. I was like, the GOAT. What?
Who's this GOAT?
What
Who
are
did
we
they pick
talking
up?
about? Yeah, so Damien Hardwick coming in. That's
Huge.
why there's buzz.
Yep.
That's why they're buzz.
The players out there, they're pumped. They're getting to the media saying they just sit there. He knows what he's talking about. He's done it with Richmond, 17, 19 and 20.
My concern with this, because it happened to my club as well, Damien Hardwick said he was burnt out when he left Richmond.
Yeah.
The history of coaches, like quality coaches, coming back and performing is not fantastic.
But you got the beautiful weather up there. You know, he gets out. I'm sure he gets on the surfboard. He's probably just relaxing. He's probably just going to love it. I feel like he's actually going to be the sort of coach. He gets the rig out. He's an Adonis.
Do you want
bloody...
Do you want to buy a membership?
Fuck no. Zero chance. That brings us. We'll go into the team analysis.
So this is their blaring, I guess, issue for me is their backline. Sam Collins is a star, averaging just under 8 disposals, but they're very small. That centre half backline, like,
do you say 8 disposals or 8
spoils?
Spoils.
Okay. Spoils. 8. Like he's their key down fullback. That centre half backline. It's just small. Bandarik is short for a centre half back, and then you got the 2, Powell and McPherson, which gives them a lot of run, but they are undersized down there, and they were 5th for points against. Yeah. So they really had a lot of leakage, and
16th when the ball gets turned over, it seems like they're 16th in the league against getting scored on. So it seems to be a problem. They don't have that good interceptor who can, help Sam Collins to come in like the likes of Darcy Moore and that. I think, you need that. Or Jeremy Howe. Like, you need someone of that caliber who can, really do that. You think about it. Stephen May would be pretty good right there right now.
That situation. They've got a really good midfield. You've got Sam Flanders. Miller's going to be back completely this year. Matty Rowell is fully fit. Noah Anderson had a fantastic year winning the best and fairest. Yeah. I do reckon Twiller would have won that if he was playing. So there's a lot to like. You got Brandon Ellis on the wing. Brandon Ellis has been a great pickup for him. For a guy he wasn't in Richmond's, he wasn't one of their top 5 players, but he really brought that culture.
Yeah.
And work ethic that we hear to the Gold Coast Suns. So he's been good for them. And then their forward line.
Just on that, Took Miller, he's a jet. Like he's
can run all day.
The seasons before, obviously, and he played the 11 matches last season. He's the sort of player that he'll win the BNF, but he's the sort of player who could win a Brownlow, without doubt. In my opinion, I think long term. I think give him a few years and I think he'll be there.
I've never had him as those A+ and that top tier.
Okay.
I'm talking Petrarca, Oliver, Dacos.
Well, look here. So 2021 averages 31.8 disposals.
He's a gun.
2022 28.5. Sorry, 2023 season played 13 and only had 25 average.
Does he kill sides though?
Well, the only thing he doesn't do is hit the scoreboard.
He doesn't damage sides like
Noah
those
Anderson
key ones.
Kicked his, I think, 16 or 14. I think. I'm sorry about
He kicked 14.
14.
Miller's a gun. I just reckon he's that step below the A+, like the elite of the elite, which isn't. It's not a detriment to him.
This is true. Then, sorry, I cut you off. Go into the forward line.
So then in the forward line, Ben King, you got Lukosius. So Ben King, it was great to see him back for a full year after missing all of 2022 with an ACL. He kicked 40 goals. Lukosius kicked 39 goals. Ainsworth on the half forward line kicked over 20. The only one who kicked over 20, though, for their whole team, and this is where their midfielders need to hit the scoreboard more, was Levi Casbolt, and I don't think
He won't be in the starting,
I don't think he's in their best 22.
No.
He's from Carlton. Great overhead, but he's just not consistent. He really struggles in front of goal.
He's got the yips. Yeah,
he's got the yips. Always has been. It's funny. He was always a player I thought would one year
day
just destroy it.
Yeah.
Nick Holman's in the side. He kicked 13 goals last year. Again, he struggled to get a game with us. When I say us, I mean the Blue Boys. So there's a bit of holes still in that side, which I'm concerned about. They have picked up well.
They've picked up very, very well. So we'll go into the ins and outs. Is that we've done the following? Oh, no. You've got Jared Witts, Took Miller, Matt Rowell. You know what? They've got a pretty, their midfield that's their best part.
Miller, Rowell, and Noah Anderson,
Yep.
genuine stars.
Yeah.
And this will be the first time that they can all be together because Matty Rowell's first 3 games, he was just averaging 25, and he's just been injured ever since.
Yep.
But him flat out together with Miller, because Miller missed a lot, paired with Anderson.
Anderson hits the scoreboard, so I think that's going to be their asset. And I think it's just if they can all be playing together and be fit and have a full season together, I think their midfield will spread really well. I think the only concern is, like you said, that defence. Really, 16th in when the ball gets turned over,
and they're
scoring against,
and they're polished. Like Matty Rowell and Miller, I've seen on many times. They can butcher it.
Yep, but they have the players in the forward line who can kick the goals. That's another positive, and I think Ben King's only going to get better.
Yeah.
So I think they've got a lot of up with that, and I think. What did I hear in the media? I think Fox Sports came out. Damien Hardwick came out and said, "Look, we're 80%." There, I think their president wants a premiership by 2026. That's what they've said. By the end of 2026, they've made it public.
That's not happening.
That will happen.
That's not happening.
It's not happening?
No. How is that going to happen?
Hardwick seems to think they were 80% there. Now they're about 90. So they're getting closer and closer.
They're going to recruit Dustin Martin.
Maybe they'll just tank. Oh.
Tank
you
what?
Reckon?
What do you mean
Maybe they'll tank again and get some first round picks.
I generally thought that was half a chance when Damien it wouldn't have surprised me if you saw
them tank.
Dusty go. That Dusty's going Gold Coast.
You know what?
He's achieved everything.
Why not? Richmond are on the way out. They're rebuilding.
Exactly.
It's actually a perfect transition.
Go enjoy yourself in the sun. Party, kick some goals. Premierships.
I'm sure every Gold Coast fan loves hearing that.
I generally thought, because, the older players from Richmond, Jack Rewell, Cochin, I generally thought, sort of like those Hawthorn players did, like in Hodge and Birchall and Gunston in their later years went to Brisbane.
Yeah.
I sort of could see that, let's go for a year or two and help this younger.
Do you reckon it could happen?
Well, Rewalder would have already done it, but Dusty, who knows?
Yeah, Rewald definitely no, but
Dusty wouldn't surprise me at all.
I wouldn't put it past it either. Now we'll go into the ins and outs. We'll go into, so you got first and foremost, Sam, how the heck do you pronounce that? Clohosey in the rookie draft?
Rookie draft. Will Graham, good midfield, pick 26. Jack Reed, another rookie draft. Ethan Reed, so apparently going into the draft, he was the best ruckman in the comp. In that draft, so that's exciting. Jared Witts is, a journeyman. He's not an A star ruckman. So if they can, put some time into this young kid, Jed Walter's the one I want to see though. Forward, big forward. Give him another goal kicking option. Big power forward.
Well, it seems like they've definitely recruited
physically imposing.
Yeah. They've got, that's their whole thing. This year is just a full rebuild and they've recruited so well. Yep. But I think it's not just, I don't think it's around necessarily the players. I think it's more around the actual coach.
What Hardwick should do for his tenure is what we pointed out, retention. Because people will want to play for Hardwick.
100%. And they're VFL.
He's a big name.
He's a big name. Their VFL just won their premiership too,
and that's a good sign.
which means there will be some players that come up through there.
There's a lot of history of, sides winning the VFL premiership than the AFL premiership. So,
Yep.
their twos are strong. It's always a good sign for like the depth of the club. Still not, my jury's still out on them. I'm not giving away my pass mark yet, but I'm not buying the hype.
Not buying it at all. Well, the media needs something to sort of feed, don't they, Johnny? Like
We will keep going.
we need to be fed. Then we go into the strengths and weaknesses for the team. Johnny, lead the way on what you think the strength is for Gold Coast.
I think they're midfield. Like we went through that. Miller, Rao, Anderson, Flanders, Ellis. You still got David Swallow, who's been there since inception, who can pinch it in. That's a good lineup.
I genuinely think
a
their
good
biggest
lineup.
strength is their coach. I'm not saying
fair.
because if you
That's fair.
could have recruited all these other players, it's seen. You look at Collingwood, you see how good a coach can make a difference.
Yeah.
And someone like, he's the best coach of the last decade. Damien Hardwick is going to make a difference there.
The last decade.
I reckon he's been the best coach.
He's better than Alistair Clarkson, who won 3 in a row.
When did he win his?
2013, 14, 15.
Fuck, I meant. Well, now I can't. No, it's 2024 now.
Oh, we're being
cutting
we're
13.
being really
We're
technical.
being really technical, mate. Last decade is.
It is. I mean, you're right. You're right.
I am saved myself right. But he is technically. If you look
on
at
a
that,
technical basis,
yes,
he's not
3
better than
Premier-
Clarko. Well,
No.
he came up under Clarko.
exactly. So Jedi mind, he's Yoda and
What do you mean?
I'm talking
He's
shit.
a very good coach. I
think that's their strength.
He took over a broken Richmond side and
Yep.
turned them in. Like you look at, they had 3 years of missing out on finals before they started winning premierships. So he had a very successful period at Richmond, and hopefully, what will be important for Gold Coast, because they've never had a culture. Because you've had players leave consistently all the time. You had that partying culture. Then you had, which was ironic, because then you had Gary Ablett, who sort of is completely removed from that. But then you had all these young players. What is the Gold Coast Suns' identity? They have not had one.
They now do.
Clarko, Hardwick will whip them into shape.
Yep.
He knows how to relate to players. He's done it before, and he can create a culture that could sustain this side
100%.
for 10 years.
I think he's going to lay the foundation. I think we'll go into the past, mate. We're not going to go there. I think their weakness right now, I think it's pretty obvious to me. I think it's their backline. I think how small their backline is. I think they've actually recruited really well for the midfield and the forward line. Jed Walters is going to add that extra flair as another forward who can kick over probably 20 goals for the season. But I just think their backline at the moment, that's probably going to be their part that they're going to need to really, really, for the next season, build on.
Well, they're in saying that though, to the backline, in fairness, the amount of turnovers that Gold Coast were doing last year, what did they finish?
In the turnovers?
Yeah.
Or like overall?
Yeah.
15th, they finished overall. And turnovers, they 16th.
That was 16th. So they turned the ball over.
So turnovers and then scoring like against.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So no wonder their backline's under pressure and getting slaughtered, because they're butchering the ball by foot. So that great midfield just has to be a little bit cleaner.
Well, they were 17th overall in the kicking rating. So you look at that. That says it all.
Their skills.
Their skills need to be a lot better.
That's a big thing. And even though they've got some good names in the forward line, didn't kick too many.
Well, if you can't hit the forwards, it doesn't mean anything.
Correct.
At the end of the day,
Correct. So they need to.
the ball's
I think they need
won
to.
in the midfield.
I think they're midfield, and they need to add another forward.
Yeah.
They're not. They're clearly they're fifth for
Yeah.
points for. They're not scoring enough.
Yeah, and I think the disposal efficiency needs to be a lot higher for them to actually be, but I think that's what Damien Hardwick, I just think he'll bring it. And I think the polish of the players that they got from the academy and in this draft pick is going to be really good for them. So in terms of, we go into net, players to watch. Who is your player to watch or players? Mine is pretty obvious. Ben King. I've always loved the way he plays, the way he played at St Kilda. I think he's got, he kicked 47 the year before, so in 22, 40 last year, and he missed 3 games. I think he has potential to kick north of, 50, 60 goals for them.
That'll be handy. They've always had massive raps on the King boys. I think for me, it took Miller back. One to watch is actually this midfielder all together now.
Yeah.
Because Rouse had his problems with injuries. Miller was out of the side last year a bit at times. This midfield gelling with Damien Hardwick at the helm. And Damien Hardwick, he is one to watch.
He is. Without doubt, he's going to be the best.
Apparently he's the GOAT. So let's see how he goes. Let's see how he goes when he doesn't have Dustin Martin.
Richmond overall was a good squad. You can't just say it was Dustin.
Do you know how good Richmond was? So good though. The ironic thing about Richmond, and everyone, please don't take this the long way. I never thought list-wise they were ever in the top 4 with their list. However, they played a system and a brand of football that with the forward handball, manic pressure, that worked. You can't tell me they had a better list than Sydney, like in those individual years, Sydney, Geelong, like those sort of teams.
No, but it comes
Adelaide,
back,
but it comes back to your system.
Yeah,
That's how good a coach.
Yeah.
Maybe the Suns should bloody make the finals this year then.
But this is what I'm trying to say. I think you look at a team like Collingwood, but I mean their list is ridiculous. But you look at it, no. I can't make that call. Collingwood's list is ridiculous. It's overpowered. Anyway.
Good pullback.
Yeah, I was like, I don't want to rant with John. We'll go into the fixture for the Gold Coast for next season. So straight away, up in Gold Coast opening round, they verse Richmond.
Oh, that's beautiful.
That's a very, very sentimental thing. Did they deliberately do this one?
Of course they did.
Obviously, viewership.
Of course they did.
Then they verse Adelaide at Gold Coast. So they've got the first 2 at Gold Coast. Then they verse the Dogs down in Victoria, GWS, Hawthorn and Sydney. So
am I seeing that right? They've got 4 of their first 5 games at home.
Yep.
So this is the problem with being with the Gold Coast, where everyone falls in love with them. Apart from last year, I challenge you everyone to go back and watch look at their past fixture. They constantly get 4 of their 5 games at home, and they start not bad because they get all the home games, and then they go back to reality and get whipped.
Yeah.
And their second halves of each year are just horrible. They can't see out a year.
Well, it's evident. Like they've never made the finals. So they always said, like last year they came out of the blocks. They
do this every year.
And then they just drop off. But what I'm thinking, logically, right? Damien Hardwick, he's known for brutally pointing out players on the field. I don't think he's not going to let anyone just go and play. And if they're not playing to the standard he wants them to, he'll let them know and publicly let them know, which I think isn't a bad thing. So I think there's a lot of pressure on the players. Damien Hardwick has also stood into a very big pressure situation now that the president's come out and publicly declared he wants 2026 a premiership by the end of that.
Well, now there's a light on them. Think about all this mediocrity.
Yeah.
They sort of haven't had a light. Like no one's really cared about Gold Coast. And I'm not being disrespectful. It's just the way that it is.
They've never been a threat.
They haven't been successful. But now a bit of the light. That's not to say there's pressure on them to make the finals now.
There is.
From me.
Oh, from you. Well, yeah, no, I think for a lot of people, there's a lot of pressure that they're going to get.
Well,
the
fact that they're,
I've put them in there. They're fucking better.
The fact that their president has said they've got to win a premiership by 2026 means they have to make the finals now.
Yeah, and understandably, pressure will show what's going to happen.
Well, let's do pass mark then. I want to start with you.
So they need to make the finals. That's their pass mark. And I think a lot of the supporters would be there as well. I'm sure that they're probably sick of seeing every single year the same shit served up time and time again. I think if they're, and wouldn't surprise me if you had a Gold Coast membership, you just tore it up and went down to GWS.
Most
or went to
Gold Coast
Brisbane.
members are just Carlton supporters who tore their membership up.
Yeah, true. But I genuinely think they would have this. They've got this hope. Like you bring in
That is
such
true.
a good coach, who I said was the GOAT over the last 10 years, and he is. He's won 3 premierships, but then their recruiting's been excellent. Their team hasn't actually had a full, by the sound of things, hasn't had a full, gel over the last 2 years.
Yeah.
So I think that there's going to be a lot of potential. I think they've got the squad to be a top 8 team. I think the finals should be a non-negotiable. I know Fox Footy put them prediction 6th to 10th. Now I don't like how they put such a bloody window on that, because that's bullshit. Pick them in the finals or don't. They're in the finals for me. That's their pass mark, and I think that's where they're going to end up. I think 8th or 7th is probably where they're going to be. I don't think they're going any higher than that based on the talent and the teams above them.
Okay.
What about you?
All right. So I will admit this is the most exciting time for the Gold Coast Suns. They have struggled with injuries. Retention's been massive, been a really big issue for them. We read out the list before. I don't see them making it this year. And I don't think they will, because I've constantly been hearing about this. Every single year it is Gold Coast are going to be awesome. Gold Coast are going to be awesome. Gold Coast. Just because they're always this young side, every time it's the same story.
Well, they are young, 25.1
Awesome. And
years
it's every
of age.
year and they don't make it.
Average.
It doesn't matter. It really does not matter.
But have they had a coach like this before?
No, they haven't.
No.
So what?
What do you mean, so what?
Who are they?
What?
Now, let me finish. They're not better than Adelaide. They're not better than Brisbane. They're not better than Carlton. They're not better than Collingwood. I don't think they're better than Essendon.
I do.
Fremantle, they're not better than Essendon. They won't finish higher than Essendon. They're better than Freo. On par with Freo. Not clearly better than Freo, and we know how much we rate them. They're not better than Geelong. Hawthorn, I can see them creeping up and being equal with the Gold Coast. This
is a.
Port Adelaide, Sydney,
Just want to read out the whole
Kilda,
bloody AFL
GWS, Bulldogs. That's 12 sides who are definitely better than them.
Okay.
Gold Coast aren't making the finals this year. I'm very sorry.
Beg to differ. Please comment your thoughts. Who are they making the finals this year? Would love to know. That wraps up everything. That's the episode absolutely done for the 2024 AFL season for the Gold Coast Suns. Please drop your comments. Where are they going to end up in the next episode? Who are we reviewing next, Johnny?
Greater Western Sydney. So the other new sides, that came in a year after the Suns. Really excited to get into them because, what a contrast between the two new AFL teams. One's gone, the Suns have gone this way, and then you got GWS who have gone in just the right direction and were, a bee's dick away from making a grand final last year. So very excited for tomorrow's preview. We've really appreciated your comments, by the way. We've been getting a lot positive that we really love.
The negative ones.
A lot so and not so positive. And then we've had...
Keep them coming.
Keep them coming. We love them. And we've had some in the middle with, some really good debates and difference of opinion. We're going to go through every single side and would love to hear your thoughts. And thank you for watching.
Awesome, guys. Like, subscribe, and...
Ring the bell.
The fuck was that?
I forgot where the button was.
Where's the bell? No, we're not going to do that. See you guys. See you the next one.
See you later.